According to the Salvation Army's Social Policy Unit, New Zealand society is concentrating on economic success at the expense of its poorest. The number of solo parents in paid work has jumped from 48.4% just before the Working for Families reform started in October 2004 to 60.6% at the end of last year. The report says there are now 64 early childhood education places for every 100 preschoolers nationally, but there are only 31 to 35 places for every 100 preschoolers in poor suburbs such as Mangere, Manurewa and Massey. This is just one of the issues facing less affluent communities, according to the Social Policy Unit Director, Major Campbell Roberts. He is concerned that the welfare system is failing to hit the mark. He asked the question, with incentives for solo parents returning to work, what's happening to the kids?
You know, they're often being looked after by older members of the family, or there isn't proper provision being made for them, and hence we have some of the issues which are happening in some of our communities. When you mix that with the ready availability of drugs and influences that are around in some communities, then that puts a pretty bad mix, really.
The report highlights the increasing gap between rich and poor.
That gap is widening year by year. None of the things that we're doing at the moment seem to actually pull that gap in. And so we're spending a lot of money, and some of that money needs to be spent, and some of it's delivering well. But the reality is that there is an aspect of New Zealand which is not being attended to at this point.
Major Roberts says this is not just a government problem. He believes the church needs to step up and lead the way on social policy.
We have an opportunity to actually be leaders in the New Zealand society, and I think often we've abrogated that responsibility. We've been very much involved in our own life and not perhaps involved in the life of those of the community around us.
Major Roberts said state spending on health, education and welfare had risen from $23 billion to $39 billion a year in the past decade, but that it doesn't seem to be reaching those who need it most. Scott Kelso, Nzone Tonight.